What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Darnell Mooney and his comments on how he can't wait to see the offense open up and how they ran a vanilla offense in preseason. We'll talk about the Bears ranking on ESPN's initial power rankings heading into week one. We'll also talk about the updates to the Chicago Bears depth chart as they released their week one depth chart. We'll get into all that and more on today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, Bears fans, thank you for joining. I'm Haize, holding it down for C-Dub and Bobby on the daily episode of Chicago Bears Central. We also got a live stream coming tonight, so make sure you guys are tuned in for that. So nonetheless, the Bears have released their initial week one depth chart. And while there's nothing super surprising about this, there are a couple things that I do want to talk about on this. So, of course, starting quarterback, we got Justin Fields. Running back depth chart is David Montgomery, Kari Blasingame at the fullback. Khalil Herbert is the second string running back, and Treston Ebner listed as the third string. At wide receivers, where things get a little bit interesting. So we do have wide receiver number one as Darnell Mooney, number two as EQ St. Brown, number three, first backup is actually Velus Jones Jr. coming in as the third wide receiver on the depth chart, and then Byron Pringle listed as number four, followed by Dante Pettis and Amir Smith-Marset. Again, so that's our wide receiver core for right now. We'll see how that changes over the course of time. Of course, starting at tight end, we got Cole Kmet. The offensive line, so it seems like officially now, I talked about it on yesterday's episode, that the Bears were looking at two different options when it came to the offensive line, depending on what Lucas Patrick could do. Where it looks like we got our answer to that. He is going to be lining up as the starting center with Cody Whitehair as the left guard, Braxton Jones as the left tackle, which is no surprises there. Tevin Jenkins is lining up at the right guard, and Larry Borom at right tackle. This is what we expected. Many people, even in the video that I posted yesterday, commented that they really wanted to see Tevin Jenkins hold on to that starting spot, even if that meant sitting Lucas Patrick until he could snap the ball. Well, it looks like we got our answer there, and that's how it's going to be. We got Riley Reef backing up the left tackle position. Lucas Patrick also listed as the backup left guard. Sam Mustipher as the backup center. J. Tyree Carter as the backup right guard. And Alex Leatherwood, a new addition, as the backup right tackle. So nice there with the offensive line. Don't be surprised if the offensive line moves around a lot as we continue to find the best combinations there. Don't be surprised if we get a little fluctuation. Some people even think that Alex Leatherwood may be a starter on this offensive line by time things are all said and done. We know he can play multiple positions, even though they have him listed here as the backup right tackle. That could very much change over the course of the season. Let's get to the starting defensive line. So, of course, we have Robert Quinn starting at one defensive end. Actually, Alquadin Muhammad coming in as the other starting defensive end. A lot of people thought Travis Gibson was going to win that starting spot. I had said earlier I think even in preseason, maybe even before preseason start, that it seemed like Muhammad was going to have the inside track on being the other starting defensive end. And a lot of people did think that Travis Gibson was going to have that he was the better player. But it looks like maybe Muhammad's familiarity with the system and things like that, why he ends up getting the starting spot in week one, and we'll see how that changes over the course of the season. Justin Jones and Angelo Blackson as our starting defensive tackles there. At linebacker, no surprises here. Roquan Smith, Nicholas Morrow, Matt Adams, with Jack Sanborn listed as the second string linebacker as well. You guys know that that's a big guy that we are high on here at Chicago Bears Central is Jack Sanborn. Proud to see him make the team. Him listed as the second string. It's well-deserved. I'm sure we're going to see him get a handful of snaps out there as well at week one. But again, no surprises on the linebacker position. At the cornerback, we have Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon as the starters, with Lamar Jackson and Kendall Villador listed as the backups to them. Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones listed even further down there on that. At safety, no surprises. Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker. Special teams, punter, kicker, we already knew that was going to go in there. Our lead kick returner, Khalil Herbert, with Velus Jones being second, and then punt returner, Velus Jones and Dante Pettis listed there. So that's what it looks like our depth chart, barring any changes between now and Sunday. That's going to be our starting, our depth chart going into week one. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Any big surprises there? I really think probably the biggest one for some people is Muhammad over Travis Gibson there, because some people really did have Gibson pegged to be a starter, but nothing too crazy there as far as my opinions. But let's go into outside of this starting depth chart and things like that. ESPN did release their power rankings heading into week 1, and surprisingly enough, the Chicago Bears come in at 25th listed on this ranking. Now, that is something that not a lot of people expected. The Bears in a lot of power rankings and things so far have been listed as like 30th in most cases. And in some of the things that they have right here on this, they have listed as the breakout player for the Chicago Bears this season as being Cole Kmet. And they talked about he more than doubled his targets and catches from his rookie season to year 2, which we did talk about here, but also talking about his chemistry with Justin Fields, the increased ability to go to him in the red zone, how he's going to inherit that with Jimmy Graham gone. Really high on Cole Kmet, as we are here. One of the things that they also have listed that if this season is going to be a success for the Bears, it really means showing tangible signs of Justin Fields' improvement as being a franchise quarterback. The biggest impact newcomer they have on this, Kyler Gordon, which is surprised considering Jaquan Brisker and what he has done so far. But again, we are all very high on Kyler Gordon as well. And then the over under of 6.5 wins, they picked the under on that. So still not picking the Bears to win very many games. But it is what it is there. And then the bold prediction for 2022 that ESPN has listed is Jaquan Brisker leading rookies in interceptions. I actually like that a lot. So, having them ranked 25th is a surprise to some. Even Cole Kmet as the breakout player. Shout out to them there. On Yahoo Sports, the Chicago Bears are actually listed as 29th on their power ranking. So kind of around where most people would expect it to be. Sports Illustrated, we already know, we've talked about that. They have the Chicago Bears listed as 30th on their power rankings, and The Athletic that has the Bears listed as 31st, as well as Pro Football Focus. And NFL.com has the Bears ranked at dead last at 32nd in the power rankings going into the start of the season. So that's where everything is right now for the Bears going into week 1 as far as power rankings on every different platform that they're on. But let's go ahead and move in. So Darnell Mooney has actually come out and said that, they basically ran 3 or 4 plays in preseason. Now we have been, they opened the playbook up more in that last preseason game, especially in that first half. But he talked about the vanilla offense that the Bears have been running so far. And so it really just has me more excited for what this offense is going to really look like. What is it going to take shape as they open up the playbook more, as the chemistry builds on this offensive side of the ball? Most teams do run a bare bones version of their playbook in preseason. They do have a very limited playbook compared to the hundreds of plays that they're going to have in the full playbook when things are ready to go. But Darnell Mooney having this as the exact quote to say, "I'm tired of the 3 to 4 plays we ran in preseason. I'm ready to open this thing up and get everyone off our back." So it seems like there's a lot of confidence that the Bears offense, when we see the full version of it, is going to surprise some people around the NFL, around Bears fandom, things like that. And I, for one, everything that we've heard from Luke Getsy and how they're going to build the system around Justin Fields and the strengths of this team rather than trying to make anyone fit into a certain system, it's all exciting. I have nothing but excitement to see how this team continues to take shape. I've been very vocal on the fact that the defense, I'm excited where the defense is already. I think this defense is going to be a top 10 defense in the NFL. Again, that's a bold prediction for me. But to hear that the offense has been running only 3 or 4 plays out of an over 100 play playbook has me excited for what we're going to see when we get into the regular season. Let me know down below how more excited, how palpable did that make it to palatable? Did I say that word right? I have no idea. Listen, it is what it is. St. Louis raised me. But with that being said, how this offense continues to take shape. Now, before we go today, we do want to talk about one thing. So the Chicago Bears did release a letter and renderings for what the Arlington Heights is going to look like. You're going to see some of those pictures down at the bottom right here as I'm talking about it. But it seems like as of right now, it's going to be the largest development project in Illinois state history, with a multi-purpose entertainment district anchored by the new best-in-class enclosed stadium, providing Chicagoland with a new home worthy of hosting global events such as the Super Bowl, college football playoffs, and Final Four. The Bears have discussed their plans with the Arlington Park property, which includes more than just the proposed new stadium. Make no mistake that it's much more than a stadium. Any developed in Arlington Park will propose to include a multi-purpose entertainment, commercial, retail, and housing district that will provide considerable economic benefits to Cook County, the surrounding region, and the state of Illinois. The Bears are, listen, as it's happening right now, it's the Bears are planning to build not an entertainment district, not just a new stadium. I think we've talked about it just in the confines of a new stadium, but when you talk about housing, restaurants, office space, hotels, fitness center, parks, everything, considering the Bears have not owned their own stadium, considering they've been missing out on a lot of the revenue that stadiums generate, they're going all in. And this could be franchise changing as far as just invigorating a new source of income for the team as well, but also having a spectacle that we have not really had. Soldier Field is great. It's historic. We feel it as Bears fans, as Chicagoans. We feel what Soldier Field means to the team and means to the NFL and the storied history. No one can ever take that away. But they have missed opportunities. The Bears have not had a state-of-the-art, even with all the renovations that have come to Soldier Field. They look to fix that with this Arlington Park thing. And it also notes in this release that they remain committed to Soldier Field and will honor the terms of the lease. So, they're gonna be in Soldier Field for the foreseeable future for a little while until this Arlington Park development is going to take a while to get up and going. But everything is happening. All signs are pointing to it. For those that still thought there was a glimmer of hope, so for some that thought that maybe the city of Chicago was going to be able to do enough to convince them to stay, it's not happening. This move to Arlington Park is all but written. It's going to happen. It's going to go down. And I think it's going to be better for the franchise overall. I know that it sucks for them to be moving out of the city of Chicago limits and things like that. But everything, like to build something like this, we've talked about building a new stadium to kind of overtake where Soldier Field is. And they could have done that. But to build this type of entertainment system, it was not going to happen being in the city of Chicago more than likely. And so they're making the move. Let me know what you guys think about that one down below. But that is it for us for today. Make sure you follow the show at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. You can also leave us a text and our voicemail. The number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.